All right, everybody, good morning. So now we are recording the class. It is March 1st. So I just went over our agenda for today. And I'm going to begin our first part of the class to give everyone a chance to get back into speaking English with a question. When was the last time you've been to a museum? This could be yesterday, it could be when you were a little kid, it could be years ago, 2 weeks ago, whenever. Tell us what you saw. Take a minute to think. And then I'll start, I'm gonna pull up the video panel and then I'll take a few volunteers to share. You can raise your hand. If your camera's on, you could raise your hand like this, or you could just click the emoji to raise your hand. The last time you've been to a museum, what did you see? Fernanda, take it
Hello,
away.
George.
Hello.
I study about Van Gogh and Liverford and Labori. It's very interesting.
Which museum did you go to when you went to Labore? Or when you went on the trip with Labore?
And Museum Fine Arts.
Nice, beautiful. That's one of my favorites. The premier art museum in this country.
My favorite.
All right. Can you tell us a little something about what you saw there? Or maybe if you don't have to remember the name of any piece of art, just you could describe it.
The people observing the art comment.
Was this a painting or a sculpture or what was this?
The painting.
Okay, so it was a painting of people looking at art.
Yes.
Okay, very nice. All right, who would like to go next? Last time you've been to a museum. Madhavat, tell us.
Good morning, nice to meet you again.
Good to see you too.
Actually, this is from long time, but it is very interesting visit to museum, the Science Museum in Boston.
Nice.
Yeah, we went with my family and my kids very enjoy with the museum. This is from at 2016, from long time, but it is, I remember that clearly. There is dinosaurs, there is a lot of things about the space, there is games, activity, wood stick should be put in a specific figure. A lot of things enjoy the kids and looking for some mirror or something about lighting over there. It's awesome place for kids.
Very nice. I actually went to the Science Museum with my kids last week. They had,
That's
good.
Yeah,
They loved it. They got a lot of new exhibits there. But my son's favorite is the bed of nails on the 3rd floor. It's very popular with the little kids. But the thing with the spikes that kind of rise you up and lay you back down.
Yeah,
so.
And there is some sections about the insects, something about the butterfly, about specific insect.
Has anyone else been to the Science Museum? Now, this is not part of today's lesson, but in the summer, oh, Estefania, yes, you've been to the Science Museum?
Yes, the last week too.
Oh, fantastic, nice. Did you see the exhibit with the ice?
that was so interesting. The eyes on the walls was really nice, and the games with you can jump on the ice moving, so cute. Was
Yeah, I
really
love it.
interesting for kids.
I absolutely love it. Yeah, I think it's interesting for adults too.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Now, one thing I was, Marvat, you reminded me, this isn't part of today's lesson, but over the summer, for a handful of you I had in the summer session for this class, I showed everyone how to use the Cards to Culture program. So if anyone who has the PEBT card, WIC, or EBT, or a Mass Health card, a lot of museums you can get into around Massachusetts free or reduced admission for maybe $1 or something like that. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually sending that information, Massachusetts Cards to Culture. I'm sending it to the WhatsApp group right now. That's not the lesson today, but I'm sending it to everyone. So there's a lot of great ways you can get into. My message is these are very good museums, but never pay full price. There's always ways to get great discounts or get in free. And teachers are very good with this. There's lots of teacher discounts. So ask your teachers how the best ways to get into museums for less or nothing. I saw several hands up. Was that who was next? Ani or Carrie? I saw several emojis just went up and then they disappeared. Who wanted to share next?
Hello, teacher. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Hello, good morning.
Good
Ani,
morning.
good to see you.
Good to see you too, teacher. I was in a museum, but not here in Colombia. I think that was the last year, November? No, April, something like that. I was watching exposition. Exposition is a good way to say.
Yeah.
About pictures with them. That was about the people who lived the war in Colombia. So that was, yes, people who lived
the people
the
who
war.
lived in the mountains, right?
Not exactly, but people who used to be in guerrillas and things like that time ago, people who go there very young, and now they have a new program with people, we call that reinsertados, people who live the war and start to be in a society. They start to learn. Some people of there, they don't even how can read, can they don't have nothing about the school, nothing. So that was the face about these people, how the war transformed the faces of the people, people healing because they were in a conflict, so they change and their face changed as well. So that was the exposition. That was beautiful.
Do you know the name of the museum?
That was the art museum of Pereira.
Is that in Medellin?
No, it's Pereira. It's the city.
Pereira, oh right, okay.
It's a good, it's a beautiful museum.
If you could find some of the material about that exhibit to share with the class, that would be fantastic.
Of course.
Because later today, I'm going to use a few different resources about how we can all access different museums and different exhibits from around the world. That sounds like a fantastic.
Yes, and that's free. That museum is free. You just have to pay a contribution whatever do you want to
Mhm.
pay for go there.
Nice. Nice. When we get to when I show you how to use Google Arts and Culture, if you could give me the title of the exhibit, we can search for it together to see if it's already on Google Arts and Culture.
Of course, I'll do it.
Yeah, that's excellent. All right, let's get one more person to share. Story about the museum, the last time you went to a museum and what you saw. All right. Perfect. Okay, so we got some good stories to share. Now, the next on our agenda is this. I'm going to show everyone a painting known as the Guernica. And I'm going to give everybody 3 questions to write down. So this will be a little bit of listening. Now, the Guernica depicts an event during the Spanish Civil War. And a little bit about the Spanish Civil War. Spain, Francisco Franco, dictator who was dictator of Spain for over half a century, was allied with Hitler, Germany. And German planes bombed a Basque city. And Picasso was inspired to paint this, and depicts multiple events during the bombing campaign. And it was a very controversial painting of the time and still is today. So I'm going to play a video that identifies aspects of the painting. And then I'm going to ask everybody to answer these 3 questions. So first, you want to write this down. First question, what inspired Picasso to paint the Guernica? That's the first question. So everybody, if you could take a screenshot or you could write it down in your notebook. Second, what is Cubism? Third, why does the painting create a feeling of claustrophobia? That's probably a new word. I'll bring up my video panel. Who knows what claustrophobia means? That last word I put there in the questions.
Teacher, is like the fear.
It is a fear, yeah. Phobia.
Fear.
Good, yeah. Phobia.
Yeah.
That's like
To
Greek
be
for
like
fear.
in
Yes.
a space that is close, or
Yes.
many people together.
Yes.
So you think like you cannot breathe.
Exactly. Perfect, Kimberly. So what Kimberly said, that's the definition of claustrophobia. It's a fear of being in small spaces. Has anyone ever heard a word of use the word seen other words with the end in phobia, phobia?
Yes.
There's a lot of the words. It's this fear, apprehension towards something. Claustrophobia, being claustrophobic. People who are claustrophobic have a hard time in elevators, small spaces, things like that. All right. So these are the 3 questions. Once you've written down your questions, just give me the thumbs up emoji, since I see most cameras are off. So just give me the thumbs up emoji or go like this. When you're ready. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Ariana, Guadalupe, Inmar, let me know when you're ready. Thank you, Carrie. Carrie, have you joined us from 2 devices?
What?
Have you joined us from 2 devices?
No, just one.
Okay. I just saw 2 Carries up there. All right.
Yeah, I'm Carrie too.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, excellent. There are 2 Carries. It's not 1 Carry and 2 devices. Okay. The only reason I ask is because that becomes an issue with breakout rooms. I send 1 person to 2 rooms. Okay. All right. Thank you, Guadalupe. Okay, let us begin. So here we go. I'm going to quickly check for sound. Did everybody hear that? Excellent. Here we go.
Yes.
Beautiful. And I'll add the closed captions and move the video to full screen. Whoops. There we are.
On April the 26th, 1937, fascist forces bombed the Basque village of Guernica in northern Spain. It was one of the worst civilian casualties of the Spanish Civil War, waged between the Democratic Republic and General Franco's fascist contingent. For Pablo Picasso, the tragedy sparked a frenzied period of work in which he produced a massive anti-war mural, aptly titled Guernica. The painting is a powerful work of historical documentation and political protest. But while Picasso's artistic motivations are clear, the symbolism of the painting can be as confusing and chaotic as war itself. How can we make sense of this overwhelming image? And what exactly makes it a masterpiece of anti-war art? The painting's monumental canvas is disorienting from the start, rendered in the abstracted Cubist style Picasso pioneered. Cubism deliberately emphasized the two-dimensionality of the canvas by flattening the objects being painted. This afforded viewers multiple and often impossible perspectives on the same object, a technique considered shocking even in Picasso's domestic scenes. But in this context, the style offers a profoundly overwhelming view of violence, destruction, and casualties. Multiple perspectives only compound the horror on display, sending the eyes hurtling around the frame in a futile hunt for peace. On the far left, a woman holding her dead child releases a scream, her eyes sliding down her face in the shape of tears and her head bending back unnaturally to echo her baby's. There is a statue of a soldier present below, but he is unable to defend the woman and child. Instead, his broken body lies in pieces, his arm clutching a splintered sword in a signal of utmost defeat. The tip of his sword meets a woman's foot as she attempts to flee the devastation, but her other leg appears rooted to the spot, locked in the corner of the canvas, even as she stretches to move it. Another victim appears behind this slouching figure, falling helplessly as flames lick around her. She too is caught in her own hopeless scene. Each of these figures bordering the painting are horribly trapped, giving the work an acute sense of claustrophobia. And where you might expect the canvas's massive size to counteract this feeling, its scale only highlights the nearly life-sized atrocities on display. Some possible relief comes from a lamp held tightly by a ghostly woman reaching out her window. But is her lantern's hopeful glow truly lighting the scene? Or is it the jagged light bulb, thought to represent the technologies of modern warfare, which illuminates her view of the chaos below? From the coffin-like confines of her window, her arm guides the viewer back into the fray to perhaps the most controversial symbols of all. Two ghostly animals caught in the destruction. Does the screaming horse embody the threat of Franco's military nationalism, or does the spike running through its body convey its victimhood? Does the white bull represent Spain, the country of matadors, and a common theme in Picasso's work, or does it stand for the brutality of war? In this scene of strife, these animals raise more questions than answers, and additional elements hidden throughout the frame offer even more secrets for close observers. At the top of the canvas flashes a bird desperate to escape the carnage. And the abundance of animals on display may hint at the bombing's date, a market day which flooded the streets with villagers, animals, and other potential casualties. Like the bombing of Guernica itself, Picasso's painting is dense with destruction, but hidden beneath this supposed chaos are carefully crafted scenes and symbols carrying out the painting's multifaceted attack on fascism. Decades after its creation, Guernica retains its power to shock viewers and ignite debate, and is often referenced at anti-war gatherings around the world. Hundreds of viewers have grappled with its harsh imagery, shattering symbolism, and complex political messaging. But even without a close understanding of its complicated subtext, Picasso's work remains a searing reminder of the true casualties of violence. Interested in learning more?
All right, take a minute. Take a minute. And once everyone has a minute to process these three questions, then I'll ask for a few volunteers. If you already feel like you have all the answers, don't rush. Take your time. Take your time, embrace the silence. Yep, I see two hands up already, but we'll give everybody a little time. Okay, let's begin. We had a few hands up. All right. I believe, yes, so Estefania, let's start. Estefania, would you like to take the first one? And then Ani and then Fernanda. Everybody can give their own perspective of multiple questions. We can hear from many voices. Let's start with Estefania.
What inspired Picasso to paint Guernica? Guernica was painting because Guernica, the place in the north of Spain, was bombed during the Second World. Was the destruction inspires Picasso. Picasso he born in Spain, and at that point of his life, this is not on the video, but at that point of his life, he was living in France because he wasn't agree with Franco, the dictator. So he was expulsed, is the word, like when you are.
Are you saying inspired? Exposed, or exposed or inspired? I'm not sure which one.
No, I'm talking, he was somebody not according with Franco at that point. So Picasso was living in France and he painted Guernica in France.
I think you're bringing a little bit, you've studied this before, so you're bringing a little additional information,
Yes,
which is good.
yes,
which
yes.
is good. Ani, would you like to pick up where Estefania left off? Same question. What was the inspiration? Like that motive, like this jumped out of him somehow. What was the inspiration for it?
Okay, I think Picasso was feeling like in the same moment of the Holocaust. He was reminding that, plus that Stefania said, Picasso was thinking about the Holocaust, and he felt inspired about all these people hiding in their basements and living a war, living a moment in claustrophobia. And the Cubans was because.
Oh, wait, just stick. We'll go to the second question later. Let's just stick with the first question. Don't try to
Okay,
answer
sorry.
all three. So yeah, good. Annie, I think I'm gonna actually, Annie, your English is perfect, but I think I'm gonna correct some of the information. You were picking up where Estefania left off. This was during the Spanish Civil War, which I'm going to do this with my hands. Does everyone know what it means, overlapping? They're happening almost at the same time, but not exactly. So World War II and the Spanish Civil War overlapped, but the Spanish Civil War was considered, it's not the same as the Holocaust. The Spanish Civil War, that's a civil war internally in Spain. It's considered a dress rehearsal for World War II because you have a rise of the fascist movement and supporters of Franco, and then international support for the democratically elected government in Spain. But it's not quite the Second World War yet. So it's kind of the beginning of what will happen. The Holocaust, that's that mass execution in Eastern Europe, where
Yes.
Jews and other people were put into concentration camps in Poland, taken predominantly in Northern Europe. So you're on different parts of Europe. So they overlap, but the Guernica is isolated to the Spanish Civil War.
Yeah, but I just
mm.
try to say it's like a comparison. I'm trying to say it's like a comparison. I know it's a different place in a different moment, but it's just a comparison, like the museum that we have here about the Holocaust.
In Washington, D.C., you mean?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I see what you mean. Let's see. Let's see. We've got other hands up. Fernanda, Kimberly, Inmar. Does anybody else want to give their interpretation of the first question, or anybody want? Or are you ready to go to the second question?
Okay, me.
The first.
Okay, Inmar, take it away, and then we'll hear from Fernanda and then Kimberly.
Okay, I guess that Picasso was inspired in the world. He was really inspiring in his feeling because he saw that people was scared for the world and the suffer in the world. He doubts that the scare in the world is like a claustrophobia, because the people are close in a place and they cannot have an opportunity to leave this place. They were there, suffer the war because they haven't another way to escape.
Okay. Kimberly.
I think picture the cubism is like a movement or style in painting.
Wait,
That
you're going after the second question, right? You're going after the second question. Hey, you'll be the first to go after the second question. Just pause that thought. Fernanda, did you have another answer for the first question?
Yes, the first.
Okay, and then Kimberly, you'll take the second question after this. Go for it, for Fernanda.
I understand that Picasso was inspired to paint after the bombing of the city during the Spanish Civil War. He imagined the oversight, the animals and the peoples. It's the terrible, because the diet, the animals and the people. He's a lot of claustrophy. Claustrophy, yes.
Everybody, I love that everybody is trying their best to use this new word, but we haven't gotten to question 3 yet. Both Fernanda and Inmar are both saying, I'm going to say claustrophobia.
Yes.
So I salute you for going after those new words. Everybody, I think we should, I want to make sure I give everybody a little help with the pronunciation of this word. Inspired. Everyone can repeat after me, please. Inspired.
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 There we go. So the stress is right there in the middle of the word. All right.
Okay.
Good stuff. So now, Kimberly, you can take the second question. What is Cubism?
All right. Cubism is, like I said, a style or movement or both in painting, which the perspective is not like the center of the paint. It's like they are more concentrated or try to express through the geometric shapes, like square, triangles. So they use the geometric shapes to express the ideas that they have, and then like show their point of view.
You're speaking like an architect. Kimberly, I could tell you have a background in design. So she's using words like geometry and things like that. But essentially what you said was using these shapes to tell a story, to express something. Excellent. Anybody else want to go after Cubism, or? I saw 3 hands up.
By the way, teacher, it's not about the class, but you make me feel great when you say that I sound like an architect. That's what I want to study.
You do. You do. Well, happy
Thank you.
I'm happy to hear that. Thank you. You do. Let's go after the third question. And did anybody else want to take the second question?
Me, teacher.
Okay, go for it, Francelis.
Yes, about the video, say that the cubing is like two-dimensional canvas. You know, the canvas is like represent just one object.
Flat, yeah.
And when we watch the cubings, we can see the same idea, but it's displaying in different can I say like picture in and different aspect. So it's the cubing is a abstract art, like Kimberly say, is you have to think, and why you have to say your this
point
word.
of view.
The point of view, yes, correct. Thank you.
Good teamwork, both of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, let's see. Shall we move on to question number 3? All right. Who would like to take question number 3? What does the why does the painting create a feeling of claustrophobia? There's that new word. I mean, the thing is huge. It takes up like a wall in a big room. If it's so big, why does it create this feeling of being in a small space? Marvat, I see your hand up.
Yes, actually, I tried this feeling because all my life there is one war in my country. So when there is war, our family keep together in war rooms and try to support one another. So the small space, there is scare, there is sport, there is different feelings of the war, and there is voices of the bomb and not sleeping. There is horrible time and place at this moment.
I think that's really poignant. What Madhvat said is that this is one of the great things about art is that when we live our lives and we create something, we can communicate with people long after we're gone. So the experience, the emotions that were reflected on the canvas of this painting, it's very much relating to Madhvat's real life experience generations later. That's incredibly powerful. Even different culture, different time, different country, different everything, but that very human relatable experience is expressed and shared across from one generation to another. That's incredibly powerful. Now, let's see, anyone else want to take number 3?
Guadalupe.
All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get rid of this background behind me. Oh, wait, a bunch of hands went up. I was about to move on and then all these hands went up. Okay. Fernanda, yes.
No, Guadalupe.
Guadalupe. Oh,
Yeah.
Guadalupe, yes. Tell us.
Sorry. Do you hear me? Okay.
Oh, we hear you. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, for me, it's like a feeling of that those people or those animals are trapped into a world that they cannot escape. So that makes to feel a claustrophobia, just to imagine that you are there, that you are like screaming for a help. And you cannot escape. So I feel like a claustrophobia in that picture. I can imagine that situation.
Picking up with what Guadalupe was saying, where in the world are people experiencing this right now?
Ukraine.
Ukraine, yeah, that's the elephant in the room, meaning it's what's on everybody's mind, even though it's not stated directly. That's what's on the back of everybody's mind. People we know who are directly or indirectly experiencing this right now in and around the Ukraine. Yes, absolutely. Anyone else want to share before we move on?
Teacher, me.
Rosa, go for it.
I believe when I was watching the video and they were explaining the picture, if I see it in life, I think it's so many scenarios in one picture, and you go into and you leave it, and you feel like you're there and you have no place to go, and that makes people feel claustrophobia, because you can run to the right, to the left, or ahead or back. And I believe he did a great picture and very clear what happened in the war, and maybe probably when you see it, you live in it.
Based on what Rosa said, she said, if I was there seeing it in front of me. And of course, me putting this on a slide using the internet, it's not the same. But by the end of this class, I promise you, we're going to come pretty close. And that's when I'm going to show you how to use Google Arts and Culture to simulate walking around a museum. We're going to come pretty close as we possibly can. Not exactly the same, but just to get you excited. After we take a break, we're going to come pretty close. So now I'm going to get rid of my background. I'll show you why. Here we go. So let me see if there's anything behind me. No. So, okay. Get rid of my background. Stop the share. Stop sharing my screen. get rid of my background and go to my document camera. Here I go. No background. Here comes the document camera. Boom. All right, everybody. I've got our textbook open to chapter 2. And if you don't have it in front of you, you don't have to run across the apartment to find it. Don't worry about it if you don't have it. So we're going to do a little reading right here. Breaking with Tradition, the beginnings of Impressionism. So that's a new vocabulary word there. This painting from 1801 by Jacques-Louis David, this is considered breaking away from tradition. The reason is that roughly 200, 250 years ago, painting was used the same way a photograph is used. Artists would train to paint in a realist style, meaning make a painting look as close to real life as possible. Play with light, play with color, and make everything look exactly like it does in real life. And that was a tradition. Artists would be paid lots of money to capture images that were as close as possible to real life. And of course, there were people who veered away from that, but that was the tradition. And on the second page, I'm going to move over here. This Monet, and those of you who've been to the Museum of Fine Arts, there's a good Monet collection. This doesn't look like real life at all. Monet and others would just play with brush strokes, and you could see the lines. As I move closer here to the textbook, you could see the lines that this were made by a brush. The idea that a painting should look like a painting does not have to look like real life. That's this movement of Impressionism. We don't have to be so strict that all of our paintings have to look exactly like real life. So that's what we're going to read about, and we can do a round robin reading. Each paragraph is numbered and everyone can get a chance to take turns. So who would like to read the first paragraph? And you're going to see new vocabulary words highlighted, and on your own later you can look up these words. All right, who wants to take the first paragraph? Inmar, take it away, my friend.
Sure.
All right, and I'll use a pen here for everybody who's following on their screen. Okay, so
just the first one.
Yeah, the first one. Can everybody see clearly with my document?
I have my
camera?
book here. I have my book here.
There's one to ask everybody else. Okay, great. I can adjust if it's not clear. All right. Okay. Go for it, Imar.
Okay. As you saw with David's painting, Napoleon crossing the Alps, art was very representational. That is, it was very true to life. Traditional art also usually depicts scenes from history or mythology.
Depicted.
Okay. Good. Depicted scenes from history or mythology. Artists had the opportunity to demonstrate their skill, but they were not expected to paint how they felt. This tradition was the Impressionists challenged with their new style of art.
Very good, very good. So this is the introduction, the way I was describing the Impressionist movement, moving away from making paintings look exactly like real life. Who would like to take the second paragraph, number 2? Fernanda, take it away.
If you want ways to characterize, then with
characterize.
If you want ways to characterize, then with a single word that expand their efforts. Only would have to create the term of impressionist. They are impressionists in the sense that they rend not a landscape, but the impression produced by a landscape. Jules Castagnes.
Castagni in.
Castagni.
Any French speakers want to help out with this name?
Castagni. In Lacine, April. Oh, my birthday, April 29th.
Oh, coincidence. Very nice.
And
You were born in 1874. What's your secret? You look so young. I'm just kidding. Okay.
1874.
Beautiful. Okay. Thank you, Fernanda. Okay. Volunteer for, I saw a lot of hands up. Let's hear from, hang on one second. Somebody who hasn't been able to share yet. Ariana, did you want to share or take a read?
Carrie?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right. So Ariana. All right. Let me know if this is, I know you don't have the book, so let me know if you can see clearly with my document camera.
Yeah. I have a picture of this one.
Excellent. Beautiful.
Okay. In 1874, a group of artists go together and dare to risk it all. Frustrated by the strict rules of composition and subject matter imposed by academic institutions, these artists decide to free themselves to pursue their own ideas and mount their own exhibition. This was the first independent group show of Impressionist art, calling themselves Society Anonyme. This artist's Impressionist art was considered shocking, unfinished, and insulting. With their daring color and quick brush strokes, their revolutionary paintings were a radical departure from tradition.
Very nice. Now, this section has a lot of great synonyms. So what I'm actually going to make sure, is this a highlighter I have? Yes. Okay. I'm going to underline some of these words that are synonyms. Everybody remember what a synonym is?
Yes.
Synonymous words that can be interchangeable, or words that are similar. So shocking, that's a good synonym. Shocking, insulting, daring, revolutionary, radical. What are all these words? What do all these words have in common?
War.
No, it's not the words themselves, not the subject of. That was the subject we were talking about a minute ago.
Did they express the feeling of impression or impress?
Well, if you're if people are collectively doing something together that is considered shocking and insulting or revolutionary and radical, what are they doing? Are they doing something different? Or are they doing something the same?
They're doing the same.
Something
Different. Different. So that's what the story is about. It's about, I'm just gonna put a star right there. It's all these people who broke away from tradition were considered radical. So that's what the word radical means. When you have an idea that seems completely different than what is established, what is traditional, moving away from tradition. That's radical, and it can come across as shocking, daring, or even insulting when a new idea is introduced. So that's the Impressionist movement. Let's go to 4. All right, who wants to read? Oh, I just saw a hand up. Was that? There's so many hands up. I love it. Everybody wants to read. Who hasn't shared? Carrie on the iPhone.
Okay.
And then Carrie on the computer. I love it. One Carrie says iPhone, one Carrie says computer. We got Carrie iPhone, you can read number 4, and Carrie computer, you can read number 5.
Okay. The Impressionist painting everyday scenes from the world we know rather than following traditional religious, historical, or mythological subjects.
Mythological. You said that right. Sorry.
They painted real-life landscapes as they saw them and without idealization.
Idealization. Yep.
Idealization. They were not concerned with meticulous finish and applied their paint with quick, spontaneous brushstrokes. In their attempt to capture the fleeting moment and the ways in which objects reflect or absorb light. Monet.
Monet. These are all French names. So, and if there's any French speaker, join, help out. Or
Monet, Renoir, Manet, Picasso, and others have created a new and brilliantly vivacious world on canvas. They have also influenced the work of their friends, most notably Cézanne, Degas, and Van Gogh.
Yep. Now some of these, like this guy, one was Dutch, but a lot of these French names are coming in. So this is a very vocabulary rich paragraph where you have words like idealization, meticulous, spontaneous. We'll use these vocabulary words in the next class as well. Carrie from the Chromebook, you can take number 5.
Okay. Claude Monet spoke often about Impressionist painting. He once said, when you go out to paint, try to forget what object you have before you, a tree, a house, a field, or whatever. Merely think, here is a little square of blue. Here an oblong of pink. Here a streak of yellow.
Streak, yep.
Streak, okay. And paint it just as it looks to you. The exact color and shape until it emerges as your own naive impression of the scene before you.
Beautiful. And those of you who have not been to the Museum of Fine Arts here in Boston, I implore you to take a visit and see some of the Monet collection. All right. Last paragraph, who wants to take it? I'm gonna try to choose somebody who hasn't shared yet today. I'm looking throughout the video panel. Okay, Guadalupe, you had a chance to share. Inmar, Annie, Francelis, Kimberly. Okay, I guess let's hear from Guadalupe. You only shared once. I think everyone else whose hand is up shared twice. Guadalupe, you can take the last one. The Impressionists.
The Impressionists risk everything by breaking away from tradition. Against harsh criticisms and negative reviews, they pursue that desire to create a fresh way of looking at things in a new kind of painting that reflect a modern way of life. They struggled against poverty and hostility, but their perseverance paid off and they were rewarded with the recognition they deserved. This new revolutionary movement changed the very nature of the way people think about art. Impressionism liberated other artists from the strict rules of compositions, subject matter, and technique, and set them free to paint what they wanted and follow their own ideas and talents. The masterworks of the Impressionists have become the most widely loved and admired paintings of the past 100 years.
Beautiful. So now I'm switching back to my camera here. All right, and bringing back my background. Since we're talking about art, I'm going to actually get a background with a bit of art here. Which background would I like? I want a painting. Okay, yes, okay. So here we go. All right, everyone can see I have a nice Japanese painting, Japanese woodblock painting in the background. So Picasso was definitely inspired by a lot of Japanese paintings. You can see the shapes, lack of dimension. They're we are going to take a break now, but before we do, I'm going to show you your homework. Here we go. So for next class, I'm going to give everybody the exercises on pages 33 and 34. And I'm pulling that up in Google Classroom right here. There we are.
35.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Fernanda. 34 and 35. Thank you. And here we are. So there's our Google Classroom page. Okay. So there it is. 34 and 35. After completing the reading on 32 and 33, which we just did together, finish the exercise on pages 34 and 35. Attach a photo when you are finished. So it's 3 different exercises regarding the reading. Dive into that new vocabulary, look at it. And of course, this is being recorded. You can rewatch the video of this class. And when we come back, I'm going to show you how to use Google Arts and Culture, which will simulate viewing some of the greatest pieces of art from around the world on your screen. Okay, everybody, let's take a break. I'll give everybody 10 minutes. Sound good? Go get a cup of coffee. Do what you need to do. And I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so we're back from our break. This is a speech from Amit Sood. Amit Sood is one of the pioneers of Google Arts and Culture, but started out as the Google Art Project. This was more than 10 years ago that he gave this lecture. And this is only about 5 minutes long, but he talks about access. So the Google Arts and Culture, the Google Art Project, which is now Google Arts and Culture, it allows people to come as close as they can to the live experience of being in a museum without actually being in a museum. He said he was inspired to do this because of access. So who knows what the word access is? What does it mean?
Permission.
Permission, yeah.
Allow.
Allow, yes, allow, to allow. So yes. So he tells a story about problems with access to arts and culture growing up. So not everyone in the world has access to the same resources. And that's what he wanted, that's the problem that he wanted to solve. So here's Amit Sood's lecture. And we're going to, after I show you how, show you the beginning of the Google Art Project, I'm going to show everybody how to use these tools that he helped create. Everybody ready? Okay, here we go. I'm going to make sure there are English subtitles. Yes, there are. Okay.
I had another job. My name is Amit, and 18.
Everybody can hear? Great. Here we go.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Months ago, I had another job at Google, and I pitched this idea of doing something with museums and art to my boss, who's actually here. And she allowed me to do it. And it took 18 months. A lot of fun negotiations and stories I can tell you with 17 very interesting museums from 9 countries, but I'm going to focus on the demo. There are a lot of stories about why we did this. I think my personal story is explained very simply in the slide, and it's access. And I grew up in India. I had a great education, I'm not complaining, but I didn't have access to a lot of these museums and these artworks. And so when I started traveling and going to these museums, I started learning a lot. And while working at Google, I tried to put this desire to make it more accessible with technology together. So we formed a team, a great team of people, and we started doing this. I'm going to probably get into the demo and then, tell you a couple of the interesting things we've had since launch. So simple, you come to googleartproject.com, you look around, all these museums here. You got the Uffizi, you got the MoMA, the Hermitage, the Rijks, the Van Gogh. I'm going to actually get to one of my favorites, the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. 2 ways of going in, very simple. Click, and bang, you're in this museum. Doesn't matter where you are, Bombay, Mexico, doesn't really matter. You move around, you have fun, you want to navigate around the museum, open the plan up, and in one click, jump. You're in there, you want to go to the end of the corridor, keep going, have fun, explore.
Teacher, you're mute.
You're mute.
Yes, I am. Thank you. I paused. I said, I'm going to pause it right here. So what exactly inspired him to create these tools to allow people to walk around museums from their screen?
If I'm not wrong, he created that for the people that cannot travel to a country from another country.
Yes.
And they can go to the museum. So he said, as his experience, he learned more when he started traveling, and he went to the different museums, and he started thinking about, but there's many people like me that they are not be able to travel to a museum.
Exactly. Beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, it allows people to, so that creates the experience of just walking down the hall in a museum from your screen. Now, quick question for everybody. If you can simulate, that means, you know, fake it, that experience of walking down a hall, what else is missing from your screen if you're just standing there looking close to a piece of art? What else is missing? What's not in that real life experience?
I think, sorry, I
No, go
think
for it.
that's something that we can miss if we don't go there, is the people around talking about the art, people who probably know a lot and we can learn about it.
Okay, I'm going to write down this. Okay, so talking about the art, talking with others. Is it possible to recreate that?
I think it's possible. I think
Okay.
that can be like a real life tour, maybe, I think.
All right, so talking with others about what you see. So the
Yeah,
person
like
next to you,
we
hey, what do you
do
think about
here.
that?
Like
Okay.
we are doing here.
Yeah. What else would be missing from that real life experience of just of going into that building and seeing those great pieces of art in real life? What else is missing?
George, I think the environment and the smell. When you are in a museum, I literally have another smell. The museum smell different. I don't know how to describe it, but
No, you're absolutely right.
Teacher, I could say the dimension about how big, how small is the art that we watch.
The scale of the size and scale of the images. All right. Anything else?
The place is magic for me.
Okay, I'll say the magic. Okay. All right, so talking with others, the smell, the scale of the place, and the magic. Let's see, we're gonna watch the rest of this. Let's see if we can how close we can come to recreating that experience. Here we go.
Thanks, I haven't come to the best part. So, so now I'm in front of one of my favorite paintings, The Harvesters by Peter Brugel at the Met. I see this plus sign. If the museum has given us the image, you click on it. Now this is one of the images, so this is all the metadata information for those of you who are truly interested in art. You can click this, but I'm going to click this off right now. And this is one of these images that we captured in what we call gigapixel technology. So this image, for example, has close to, I think, around 10 billion pixels. And I get a lot of people asking me, what do you get for 10 billion pixels? So I'm going to try and show you what you really get for 10 billion pixels. You can zoom around very simply. You know, you see some fun stuff happening here. You know, I love this guy. His expression is priceless. But then you really want to go deep. And so I started playing around. And I found something going on over here. And I was like, hold on, that sounds interesting. Went in, and I started noticing that these kids were actually beating something. I did a little research, spoke to a couple of my contacts at the Met, and I actually found out that this is a game called Skål, which involves beating a goose with a stick on Shrove Tuesday. And apparently it was quite popular. I don't know why they did it, but you know, I learned something about it. Now, just, you know, we're really deep in, you can really get the cracks. Now, just to give you some perspective, I'm going to zoom out so you really see what you get. Here is where we were, and this is the painting. So, the best is yet to come, so give me a second. So now, let's just quickly jump into the MoMA, again in New York. So another one of my favorites, the Starry Night. Now, the example I showed you was all about finding details. But what if you want to see brushstrokes? And what if you want to see, you know, how Van Gogh actually created this masterpiece? You zoom in, you really go in. I'm going to go to one of my favorite parts in this painting, and I'm really going to get to the cracks. This is the Starry Night. I think, you know, never seen like this before. I'm going to show you my other favorite feature. There's a lot of other stuff here, but I don't have time. This is the real cool part. It's called collections. Any one of you, anybody, doesn't matter if you're rich, if you're poor, if you have, a fancy, house, doesn't matter. You can go and create your own museum online, create your own collection across all these images. Very simply, you go in, and I've created this called the power of zoom. You can just zoom around. This is the ambassadors based in the National Gallery. You can annotate this stuff, send it to your friends, and really get a conversation going about what you're feeling when you go through these masterpieces. So I think in conclusion, for me, the main thing is that all the amazing stuff here does not really come from Google. It doesn't, in my opinion, even come from the museums. Probably shouldn't say that. It really comes from these artists. And that's been my humbling experience in this. I mean, I hope in this digital medium that we do justice to their artwork and represent it properly online. And the biggest question I get asked nowadays is, did you do this to replicate the experience of going to a museum? And the answer is no, it's to supplement the experience. And that's it. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
So are you all ready to try it? Oh,
Yeah. Of
don't
course,
say everything at
teacher.
once. So here we go. Google Art Project is now called Google Arts and Culture because it's expanded beyond art, but I'm going to show you how that works. So if you just put in Google Art Project, it will automatically go to Google Arts and Culture like this. So Google Art Project, see that automatically goes up to Google Arts and Culture. So, and then you go to multiple museums, multiple institutions, and it's beyond art all around the world. And what I want to show you is that how this tool, we can use this tool for this lesson, is in the textbook we read about this Monet painting. So let's see if we can do the same thing that Amit Sood just did with the Monet painting. So there it is. All right, so everyone sees Woman in a Parasol. All right, and you can read all about it. It's in Washington, D.C. I mean, not too far from us, but rather than getting on a bus or a train to DC, can we simulate that experience of looking close at the painting, going really deep? Let's find out. How close can we go? So everybody see what I'm doing? Click this, click this, click this, and I'm going pretty close. So this is an Impressionist painting. You can literally see those brush strokes where Monet swiped his brush across the canvas. You can see right there, he decided to move some blue there, some white here. And just like we read in the article, an Impressionist painting doesn't look exactly like a photograph. Monet would say, make the size and the color until you see the image in your own naive impression. So that's how close we can get using this tool of Google Arts and Culture. And then we're gonna zoom back out. So I hope that you have as much fun with this as I do. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put everyone into breakout rooms. And I'm gonna give you this tool, Google Arts and Culture, and I want you to play around with it. And I want everybody to find a piece of art from somewhere else in the world and practice sharing it with the others in your breakout room. To do this, you're going to have to use your cut and paste tool. That means cut and paste the link and share it with others. So what I do is you go into the search bar, search for whatever piece of art you're looking for, anywhere in the world, just put in names of countries, names of artists. You can just put in themes and see what comes up, see what you find and where it takes you. Then you go to the URL address, cut and paste, and you can do this on your phone as well. And then you share it in the chat feature of the breakout room. And then everybody, I'm going to give everybody, make this breakout room a little bit longer so that everybody can share with each other. Because you can't share your screen in a breakout room the way I'm sharing my screen. You can share the link. So everybody, when you get into a breakout room, take some time, play with this resource. And then once you find something that you want to share, share it with everybody else. Everybody ready?
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
All right, here we go. So actually, I'm gonna give everybody Google Arts and Culture. Well, first, I'll give everybody this link right here, Woman in a Parasol by Claude Monet. Okay, everybody, in the Zoom chat, take a look down here. Okay, everybody look in the chat. Can they open that up? Let me know once you found the chat feature in Zoom.
Yes, Judge.
Great, 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 great. All right, now I'm going to give everybody the Google Arts and Culture homepage, and you can explore. Go anywhere you want in the world. Okay. All right. Excellent. And let me know once everyone has the, hey, Guadalupe, look, we can go to your hometown, Mexico City.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to this museum? Oh, wait, 10 museums from your hometown. Beautiful. Take everybody to Mexico City. Anyway, so everybody sees the Google Arts and Culture page. Travel wherever you want, explore different museums. There's some somewhere in Japan, all over the world. South Africa, beautiful. Okay, so breakout room time. I'm gonna make, let's see, 4 breakout rooms. Here we go. Okay, so once you take your time and explore on your own, and once you find something that you want to share, paste it into the chat and talk about it with your friends in the breakout room. Here we go, breakout room time.